This is a summary of the story. So there's so much that these elite families have hid through religious nonsense. Excuse me. It's important I say this bit because I've been in this battle with the religion all my life. So it's fake. All the religions are fake, and people need to get out of it. If they want to be free, they need to get out of it. The story's in the religions, but it's not in the religions.
Mm.
So there's so much that these elite families have had through the religious nonsense and invalid interpretations. But it is all written in the heavens above Ireland, the Isle of Man, and the British Isles. And that's including Wales as well there. And it's written in the minds of man too. We just need to activate it by the act of retrieving that information. I need to change that information which we once knew. So it's information that's written in our DNA. That's basically what I'm saying. And later on, that should be which, but no matter. Anyway, the Enuma Elish. So in the prehistoric void, before the heavens, and we just read this in Genesis 1 in the Christian version and the Jewish version, in their Torah and their Tanakh and their Bible, in the prehistoric world, before the heavens and the earth were created, there existed two great deities, Tiamat and Abzu. It can be spelled Abzu, Abzu, and Apsu. These were the primordial waters, Genesis 1. The great dragon energies which coiled around the garden or paradise of the celestial pole. Tiamat, the earth, and the asteroid belt combined was the embodiment of chaotic salt water. This is where energy comes from, pulling down energy from buildings and all that as well. So it's all connected to this deities. What I study about the buildings being pulling down the powers and creating power stations all over. It's all tied to this. So Tiamat, the earth, represented by the earth and the asteroid belt combined, was the embodiment of chaotic salt water. The feminine energy, the Mari, the Mori. The north of Scotland is called Morayshire, and the biggest river up there is the Dee and the Spey. They meet together. Well, not the Dee, but yeah, the Spey. And if you think the Spey, you spay an animal.
Yeah.
Yeah, to stop it having babies.
Oh, Spey, yeah.
Keep that in mind. This is Tiamat. She creates all the beasties, all the monsters in the heaven. But the river Spey represents Tiamat. Also the river Dee in Aberdeenshire. Right? The Apsu represents the sun, the first primordial one, the begetter, the dawn, the trump, the father, the father of the Danann. He is the father of Danu, the primordial gods. The masculine energy was the representation of the calm, fresh river waters, life-giving waters, and they mingled together in a swirling abyss. Now that word's important, abyss. Take note of the term abyss, right? Because it's in there. We have that in the New Testament, in the book of Revelation, and I saw a beast arise from the abyss. So in the Enuma Elish, we have that word, the abyss, where they are being created, they're swirling together in the abyss, these two serpent Kundalini energies. Take note that the term abyss resurfaces again later in the Christian writings of the Essenes, the book of Revelation. There are images of these Babylonian dragons, deities on Pictish standing stones, which I've showed you all over Scotland and Northern England, possibly even in Cymru and Wales too. I'll refer to them later, but back to Tiamat and the Apsu. From their union in this area, remember where it is, it's here, the Apsu's here, Primordial Deep, Aberdeenshire. The younger, come on, go away, I can't read that. From their union emerged the first generation of the gods and their boundless waters. So you get from that, the upper waters, you end up with boundless, watery world, the realm being created. And in those waters, the waters above and the waters below, the offspring of the Tiamat, the earth and the asteroid belt, and the Apsu and the sun create the younger gods. The younger gods were full of energy, according to the Enuma Elish. And as soon as each of them began to create and shape their environment, this realm, they were noisy. There were the twins Lahamu, Venus and Lucifer, and Lamu, Mars and Martus. Now, these words are important in Hebrew because it's to learn. Leha, the word is connected to learn anyway. But now, so you've got Mars, Martus, Mumu, which I know you're king. Ancients of Mumu, what's his name?
Well, yeah.
The
Munster
KLF.
Island, according to Neil.
So Mumu is Mercury, Kingu is the Earth's moon, Anshar becomes our Saturn, Kisha is Jupiter, Nidamud is Neptune, Gaga is Pluto, Murdoch is Nibiru, and Anu is Uranus. So here's the mystery of Nibiru. You know, everybody's on about who's Nibiru? Nibiru's appeared in the sky. Nibiru is Marduk. Who's Marduk? I'll show you soon. It's important, very important, right? It's not evil. It's not anyway evil. Nibiru is amazing. It's us. And if you remember the last conversation, who's jumping on the dragon's head? Hercules.
Yeah.
I've found something else out about Hercules. The old spelling of Jerusalem in Old English of Jerusalem was H-I-E-R, Herushalayim. Herushalayim, right? Herushalayim. The new way of spelling it is Yerushalayim, but the old way was Herushalayim. You'll see old maps and everything saying Herushalayim. The word Herushalayim is the word Heracles. Heracles is Hercules.
Wow.
Marduk is Hercules.
No way.
Nibiru is Hercules jumping on the dragon. Nibiru returned back to the center of the pole, Hercules, Marduk. And I can prove this because the area where Marduk appears in northern Scotland is called Moray-shire. And the Dukes of Sutherland, Marduk, the Dukes of Sutherland come from Moray, the Dukes of Morayshire in Sutherland. Marduk. And this is in Combs Beaumont's book as well. He actually ties it in that the Marduk or the Morayshire people were the Hittites, the descendants of the Hittites. The descendants of the Hittites were then the Canaanites who went down into the lower realm, and they became the Canaanites. And Marduk then became worshipped by the Canaanites as Baal. So his original Hercules, he lost the original Hercules and became Marduk Baal. And the Canaanites Baal, and they sacrificed to Baal, this is where we're at. So we can understand how all these gods were created and how we have falsely been made to sacrifice or follow them. So I've read that. They each brought their light and commotion into the cosmos, the upper world. But their activities disturbed the primordial peace of the Abzu, which is the upper north of Scotland, the top of the canopy of the tree. The constant noise and tumult of their creation troubled the Abzu greatly. And by the way, see the word Abzu, see the postcode for Aberdeen for that area, right?
Yeah.
It's AB51, which would be Abzi. AB5, because the S is just like 5 is just an S. So the postcode says Abzu for that area. It's strange. And the airport code for Aberdeen is ABZ, ABZ. So it's all written. It's all written there. It's still the Abzu. This is the primordial creation where the Creator first stirred the waters, the primordial waters, and from that primordial water, we created the idea of the gods, which is what this is here. So what's going on here is the upper world, or the Abzu and the Tiamat, their peace has been destroyed by all these noisy gods. Now, if you tie this to the wandering stars of the Bible, these are the wandering stars that kept not their first estates. Okay? Yeah. So these are which, according to the book of Thessalonians and the book of Jude, the short chapter of Jude actually tells you that these angels, the planets, where we get the wandering stars, planetera. These Greek word, these planets, Mercury, Mars, Jupiter, they kept not their first house. So this is what we are seeing here. We are seeing a commotion in the heavens between the primordial energies, which were represented as dragons, which are the Hydra. Tiamat is the Hydra in the heaven, the many-headed beast. And Abzu is the great dragon in the heaven, Draco. So they're still there. So that means the gods are still there, or the energies that we call the gods are still there. These planets that rebelled, as the book of Jude tells us, kept not their first estate. So it says they brought their light and commotion, so on and so on. The constant noise and tumult of their creation troubled the ancient deity, the male one, the Absu, the great dragon, and his serene existence. Frustrated by the noise of these new gods, the Absu sought counsel from his advisor, ancients of Mumu. Yeah, which is the god Mercury, the messenger god.
Yep.
In the Greek. So Mumu and Absu, the male dragon, the red dragon of Revelation, devised together. Mumu is another primordial god, we know him as Mercury. They devised a plan to silence the younger gods and restore the primordial order or silence. Absu proposed to eliminate them, but his intentions was overheard by one of his descendants, Enki, the god of knowledge, wisdom, and magic. And I would say that this is probably the Egyptian Thoth. This is what I put in here, Thoth.
Yeah.
Because Thoth was seen as a Thracian in this area of Aberdeenshire, where the Absu is ancient Thracia. And he was the ancient god of Thracia, then Greece, then Egypt. Hermes, 3 times he appeared. Thoth, Hermes, and so on. Hermes Trismegistus, whatever you call it. But this is Enki. And when we look at Scotland, this word is everywhere. Ayrshire, Ireland. So as the story goes on, there's a war in the heavens and they all flee. And the two of Danann are part of that war that disappear. And they go to Ireland.
Yeah.
This is where it's all going. So frustrated by the noise of these new gods, the Absu went to try and kill them. So Enki overheard, and this I would say is most probably Thoth, which is later represented by Cephas. And the reason why is because he's known as the king of the house, which is the first house. A, B means house. Letter A is Arthur. B is the house Cephas. C is Cassiopeia. D is Andromeda, Delta, which is the delta or the Nile Delta as well, because Andromeda sits over the Firth of Forth. The Firth of Forth in central Scotland was the Nile Delta, going down by Ireland, round the Isle of Man, and down by Bristol. And that was the Nile. Upper Egypt was Ireland. Lower Egypt was England today. Where the legal system sits, that's Lower Egypt. And you've got Upper Egypt, which was Ireland, also known as Ethiopia at one time, because Enki A went down there after the rebellion, and with him went the two of Danann. You see that?
Wow.
So,
Somebody said on my channel, Steve, and I don't know what you think about it, that obviously, like you say, Egypt is here, and it's also the body, but that's where the word gypsy comes from, Egyptian.
It means
because they used to move with the, like you say, our ancestors would have moved with the constellations, wouldn't they? And
there was a code throughout this lockdown. Remember, there was lots of stuff that people were promoting and sharing. That Wayfair online was selling children for sexual activity. Well, a Wayfarer, the website. A Wayfarer is a traveller. A traveller is a wanderer. A wanderer is the wandering star. And we're wandering stars. We're fallen. All of us are fallen. And we're the wandering stars. We're the gypsies.
Yeah.
The word gypsy is what you just said. What was it again? The word.
Like Egyptian to gypsy.
Yeah, and magician, and Egyptian, the magician. We're the magician. We're the fallen magician. We're the traveller. This is why, see, like travellers and proper gypsies that move around. That's how our ancestors travelled around the spine.
Yeah.
They're the living example of who we were.
Yeah, yeah. I
Well,
always say I'm a gypsy, like, it's because it's just, I don't know, it's just in me.
I said,
It's remembered again, isn't it?
I said to Fergus as well. I keep bringing up Fergus, but we've had lots of conversation. But I said to Fergus, we're
Mhm.
not born yet. You're not even born yet. You're
Yeah,
in a corruptible body that you'd have Vape or some other god created, and your spirit's been trapped like a genie in a bottle. And you are a gypsy. You're a wanderer trying to find yourself connected with the stars. You're trying to find your other half, your soul, your fire.
yeah,
And that fire's not your other half, a lover, or that fire's your other half in the heaven. You have to
yeah, yeah,
find your path in the heaven in order to release yourself from this flesh. And you haven't even been given your physical body yet. You're a wanderer on this earth, a nomad. You don't have
yeah,
Jesus says the Son of Man doesn't have a house or a home or any way to lay his head. We don't
yeah,
yet. We're in a war in a false system. Everything's false. The body's false. That doesn't mean we shouldn't honor each other and honor the body, because what they meant for evil, God meant for, or the Almighty Source meant for good. Because everything
yeah,
comes round. Everything does come round. And this creation of a body that we have is corruptible. And this is what the
yeah,
New Testament talks about, the handing over the corruptible for the uncorruptible. And
mhm.
this is what the journey of the heavens is about. We're wanderers, we're the wandering stars, and we got to connect with the stars. Not spirituality, not drum exercises or vibrations, or, you can't, if you don't understand the heavens, you're never going to find your other self.
Yeah, yeah. And that kind of fits in with Lawrence's stuff about the divine sparks kind of being trapped here. And he says, obviously, you're not looking for a partner or a twin flame or any of that nonsense. It's like you say, it's outside of this realm, which he's using a different language, but like looking up to the heavens, that's where that's where we need to be heading, isn't it? Or looking, like you say.
Yeah, yeah. I had a few people contact me because of Lawrence. I've not watched Lawrence stuff, so I can't really say anything on it. But there was a few people contact me not happy with what he said. But apparently, he's saying something like, "When you're dead, you're dead. You burn yourself, you're buggered." Basically, if you
Oh
burn your,
yeah, that was one of the cremation. Yeah, I think it
well,
was. Yeah.
but I'm of the opinion that I'm not in any way, please don't, and I hope Lawrence doesn't think this either. I'm not dissing his view in any way, but I think we have a much greater creator and source of power than any of all that nonsense. It's all fear. Who gives a shite? Do you think an almighty
Yeah.
creator really cares whether you burn your body, bury yourself, or get lost at sea, or just, you lay decomposing somewhere? It doesn't matter. You're not interested in that. And that's the point I'm making. The body is very special and it's taken and used by them, and they've tuned it finely for their purpose. Um,
Yeah.
but the body has to find its home again in the heavens, or the spirit has
Yeah.
to find its home again in the body. That's
Yeah.
what
I
by
agree.
by bringing the heavens down into the body, or the concept of what the heavens, how to reign over the body, because the heavens reigns over the earth. They don't rule. Nobody reigns anything. You're sovereign. You
Yeah,
so
yeah.
very reign. You so very reign. That's what you are. And we reign. Nobody reigns over anything. We are
Yeah, yeah. That's
keeping
what I
that
say.
castle.
Yeah. I
So
think that it's just all construct, isn't it? It's just things
and
to tie you in, box you in, box you
anything
in.
that's fear, I said this to Fergus, if it's fear, it's nonsense.
Yeah, yeah.
God is
I
not.
agree.
God is love. So, and we all do things. We're deceived in this world. We're absolutely deceived. But that doesn't mean if there's an almighty God or a mighty source or a love or God is love, then there is absolutely no way, no matter what we believe that Christianity teaches us about being
Yeah.
sinners or wicked, and it's nonsense. It's nonsense.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, salvation again, it links to the legal system. If something's offering you something as an outside power, that victim savior template again, offering you salvation, it's salvage, it's maritime, it's construct again. It's just like say once we realize who we are, it's like as Terry would say in the law, we tell him to get to fuck.
See where we're talking here. I can't yet, right? But see where we're talking here. You understand this. Sorry, I'm bringing it away from this again. But you understand this. the court thing. When you go into court, if you do the right thing 3 times, they take on a persona, the sheriff or the judge.
Yeah.
You know about that, yeah.
Yeah. The three different
So
jurisdictions use the.
if you don't take your name, they become in as the procurator fiscal, the procurer of finance in Scotland.
Yeah. Yeah.
The person who sits in that office, orifice, in that hole, that procurator fiscal is the first one that makes contact with whoever's in the dock. So if I'm in the
Yeah.
dock, they would say, "Are you Stephen Joseph Duncan Beattie?" And
Yeah.
I would say, "Sorry, who are you?
Yeah.
Who do you represent?" And she would say, "I'm the procurator fiscal," or he would say, "I'm the procurator fiscal," and then I would say, "Oh, you're the procurer of finances." Ah, okay. Um, who is it you know, what legal title is it you're looking for? And the
Mm.
sheriff would probably say, "Just give your name." And if
Yeah.
you don't give
They
your name,
want the persona, the person. Yeah.
yeah, you ask to become the third party representation. Say, well, unfortunately, Mr. Stephen Joseph Duncan Beattie isn't here today in that official capacity, but I, as a third party representation, uh, would like to represent the being or the legal entity.
Yeah. By special appearance.
Don't mention fiction or anything, but once you get to that part, he walks out and he'll come back in. Now, this is the three heavens I'm talking about.
Right. Yeah. Of course. Always the three, isn't it?
Yeah, it's always a
Yeah.
three. So this is
Let's
I'll try to give a brief
just.
summary of that. But you know,
Yeah.
the first you mentioned there, you're lost at sea. So your first question is that you ask for what is it again? Not resolution. What is it? Remedy.
Ready. Yeah.
Remedy. Right. Remedy is the lower realm.
Yeah.
Then you ask for um, cure and maintenance, which is to do with
Yeah.
marketing. The middle part of the world is the Argus Navi up there. If you don't get off the ship, that ship's going to smash into the rocks. So the
Yeah.
second part of the legal system and the Argus Navi in the heavens, if you don't get off that ship, you're going to be flotsam and jetsam, and you're going to need
Yeah.
maintenance. Cure. So
Yeah.
that's the second part. The third part, he's a priest of Baal. We're looking
Yeah.
at Baal. Marduk becomes Baal.
Yeah.
Marduk is the very top part of the celestial. So
Yeah.
the sheriff will go out or the judge will go out and come back in. He's on a new ship, one ship, two ships, three ships. These are the three
Yeah.
heavens. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we need to understand the three heavens. The
Yeah.
primordial with Tiamat and Apsu was the energies, which is our divine male and female energies. We need to understand the 11 gods or the 11 beasts, and we need to understand the 12 houses because the
Yeah.
12 houses make up our 12 cranial nerves,
Yeah.
which provide the fluid to the body. And the beasts make up the parts of our organs, liver, kidney, so on. They're the beasts.
Yeah.
And until we understand what they are, we can never understand what that 1, 2, 3 in a
Mm.
legal term is, and 1, 2, 3 in a spiritual term is, and a 1, 2, 3 in a physical, what Britain is, the lower world, lower England being the one lower world or the lower chakra. Actually, a friend of mine was telling me that the lower chakra is jasper, red jasper, which is very interesting, because and the upper is lapu latsu, I think they say. Lapu latsu.
Lazuli. Lapis lazuli.
And this is a precious crystal. And it talks about it in the book of Revelation. It says, I looked and I seen 12 thrones and all the jasper and coral and all these different stones.
Mm.
And there was a throne above heaven, or there was a throne in the North Celestial Pole. And it was like jasper glass. It was like lapis lazuli. It actually says like clear glass. And that's what it is. But that's the geography of Britain. If you go through Britain, you'll find that this rock formation is all through. In the very north of Scotland, you'll find lapis lazuli, and down in the very south, you'll find jasper, and you'll find chalk and the White Cliffs of Dover, and you'll find jasper and all that down there. So it's actually physically on the land as well. It's mad. Anyway, I got lost here. I'm supposed to be.
Oh no, that was great. But yes, continue.
Yeah. So where were we? Anyway, so NKA, understanding the grave threat posed by his father Apsu, acted swiftly, using his profound knowledge, which is he Thoth, the god.
Yeah.
He cast a spell to put Apsu into a deep slumber and then slew him, preventing the destruction of the younger gods. A then established, this is the important part, and I'm going to say why it's A then established the dwelling place upon the Apsu. Okay? Why is this important? There's the house. And it's called the House of Cephas. It's also called the House of Ethiopia, the King of Ethiopia. E A E E.
Yeah.
The word Cephas is E as well. It's in there as well in Cephas. Keth. They were called the Cephans. Actually, it would have been spelled Cephean. The Cephans were the astronomers who studied the stars. They were known as Cephans. And this is King of the Cephans. Now, you can't study the stars unless you're in the North Celestial Pole. So again, it puts it in a geographical place. Babylon, ancient Babylon, the Absu, the Pharaonic, it was all here. It was all up in the north. It can't be anywhere else because this procession encircles, marks, which was better in the other image, it marks the procession of the pole star. Yeah, that circle there. And the House of Cephas is what we're just reading here. So it says here, Enki, which is Egypt. You see?
All right, yeah.
That's where we get the word Egypt.
Aeons is spelled. No,
It's
eons.
also where we get the word aeons. Yeah. You'll see he creates everything. He brings the order of the heavens, like slaps the gods about and says, like, behave yourselves, guys. Come on, get in order, get. And he orders the heavens and he sets the world up.
Yeah.
But he becomes the hero, Marduk. But Marduk, as I believe, is Hercules, who is then placed up in the heavens, who is the son of God. So he then established his dwelling place or a house upon the still waters, the Apsu, the fountain of the deep, creating a sanctuary and a house for himself and his wife, Demina. Demina is your persona, your demeanor. In the Greek, she's called Persona, daughter of Demeter, who's taken to Hades, is called Persephone. In this Babylonian story, she's called Demina. And the word demeanor is just your demeanor, your persona, how you come across. So what we actually have here is there's the House of Cephas or the House of A, and her demeanor. What's she looking at? Her persona and mirror.
Yeah.
Should have turned it right. And this is all standing stones. It's us looking at our inner self. That's the king of the castle, Enki. That's us as well. It represents us too, sitting on the throne next to the throne of heaven with the creator, and your persona or your demeanor or Persephone. But she's looking in the mirror, reflecting upon her character, really. So as we should be. So it's the House of Cephas and Cassiopeia. The great primordial serpent, Tiamat, however, was deeply grieved by the death of Apsu. So Apsu is chopped up into bits by Enki. When her sorrow passed, it turns to fury. She vowed to avenge her lover, and from the depths of her chaotic water, the abyss, out of the abyss of Revelation, she birthed an army of fearsome creatures, 11 monstrous beasts and serpents, and appoints the mighty Kingu. It's actually her concubine. She's sleeping with Kingu, a god at this point. Her husband Abzu is dead or chopped up, and Kingu is her concubine. So there's a relationship going on between them. But Kingu was given the tablet or the stone of destinies. Okay? Yeah. A powerful artifact that granted him supreme authority over all creation. So this explains the Tuath Danann, the 4 items of Ireland, and all the rest of it, which all tie to the spine of Albion. The younger gods, now faced with Tiamat's wrath and threat of her monstrous legions, were terrified. So Tiamat has let all these beasts out. So all Ea can't defeat it. Enki can't defeat it. So he turns to his son, Marduk. This is his son. the son of A and Demeter is his son. Marduk was renowned for his brute strength and his wisdom, just like Hercules.
Yeah.
I suggest later this character Marduk is depicted as the asterism Heracles or Hercules over Russia. Now, Herushalayim, and the word Heracles. See that word ecclesiastic, ecclesiastic,
Oh
Greek,
yeah.
the church, the
Yeah.
ecclesia, her ecclesia, her church. What did
Yeah.
Jesus say? My church, my body, my church, called out ones. Word ecclesia means called out, is Greek. So all the way through the Old Testament, you've got these people who are called Jews, the yew tree, the people who follow the tree, the symbol in the
Yeah.
tree. They use, um, yeah, these yews. Where was I going with that? Yeah, they're called out. They're called the called out ones, ecclesia, ecclesiastes. So here we have her called out ones, Heracles, her called out ones. Who's her? Ursa Major, the bear, the center of heaven. Her called out ones. How do we get out of here? Heracles. He stands on the serpent, the dragon. The beast system is what's holding us together. So what I'm trying to show here is Marduk, and like I said before, Morishire, that area of where where Hercules is sitting, that area where Hercules sits. I've got it on this map here. Once that disappears, all the standing stones here, these standing stones, all Hilton Cabal stone. I've got pictures of that me doing on my page, Shanwick stone. These are all, you can see the body of Hercules here, his head, his arm goes up. Britain actually takes the shape of the stars. So this coastline takes the shape of Hercules' arm, and he's wrestling the Hydra here. He's squashing the Hydra, which is Tiamat with many heads, and he's standing on Draco.
Wow.
So, and this is known as Mari, the Dukes of Ori, Marduk.
Yeah.
This is Morishire. So Marduk was the god of the Ducati people, the Caithness people, the Ducati people. Marduk was their god, son of Enki.
Yeah.
This is the first deity that was worshipped. Why? Because it beat Tiamat and Apsu.
Right.
So Enki becomes retired in his house. He retires in his house and his son takes over because he's the one that beats. And from that, we get Marduk is depicted as the asterism Hercules, which is the seat of the ancient dukes of Sutherland and Morishire. Marduk, Dukes of Mar, which is all important in Scottish history. The Dukes of Mar or the Earls of Mar were the ones who decided about the wars most of the time. The Highlanders, whether they were going to send them down to fight, and the Jacobites, it was always the Dukes of Mar or the Dukes of Athol or the Dukes. It was always the Dukes, descendants of Marduk. Where did they get the titles from? The estates. Yeah. How did they end up with the title Duke? They were descendants of Marduk.
No way.
The great one who lived in Babylon. Babylon is here in Britain.
Yorkshire, isn't it?
It went down into the lower world. It began in the upper world. It was destroyed and then went down to York and then was destroyed again and went to New York. So it's moved. America, people won't like this at all. America is the total underworld. It's absolute underworld. It's lost. It's underworld. When you get to Britain, England, it's lost. It's underworld. When you get to Middle England, yeah. But the whole America is lost to the underworld, and this is where Babylon is now. New York.
New York. Yeah, New York.
New York. It's moved itself. It began in the Sumer Isles, in the very north of Scotland, a place called the Sumer Isles. In fact, I can go on here.
Well, the Romans, when they called obviously Albion Mercia, I think, didn't they? So that's where you get Mercia, America, a New Mercia. Like say New York.
And then Babylon to York down here. And then it was cast down again to the underworld. Again, down and down. These are the 3 levels I was talking about. See how this here? I've got 1, 2, 3. This is the 3 divisions over the tree. So you would see all this in full glory in Scotland. You see the entire canopy of the heavens in full glory from Hadrian's Wall. As you go down the country, you start to lose the vision, and some of the stories disappear under the horizon. You can't see it, but you always see it. And as you go down into the lower world, the further away into the lower world you get, the further away you are from paradise, God, heaven, materialism. And this is the three realms over the tree. And in this lower realm, superimplanted over that lower realm is the Cabal tree, where the 72 demons conquered it. And that's the system of the legal system that rules the world. The younger gods now faced with Tiamat's wrath. Okay, so I read that. The Dukes of Mar take their titles from the Babylonian character. Ancient Babylon is their geographic territory, but I'll go into that later. As Colin Bowman also suggests in his books, the Catti people of Caithness and Sutherland, or Mar, are the biblical Hittites, and the Hittites became the Phoenicians, along with their descendants, the Canaanites, who later worshipped Marduk. Wasn't supposed to be worshipped at anybody. We're Elohim. This was an Elohim who we understand as Hercules, who was given the name Marduk, the Duke of Mar. Marduk, the Duke of Mar. Marduk. Hercules is the Duke of Mar. Heracles. Demeter is the female Ursa, the bear, and Heracles is the called out son. Her called out son. So out of all this war that's going on in these, there's a one called out son. This is where we get the story of Jesus from, the uniquely generated son. It's all in the heavens. It's all here, and the Bible is true. It's just we've laid aside, we've laid all this aside and can't work it out. But it's still in the names of places. That's what I'm trying to show. So as Combs Beaumont mentions in his book, the Catti people of Caithness, or Sutherland, or Mar, are the biblical Hittites. And all the standing stones we see, which we call Pictish standing stones, are actually Hittite and Canaanite standing stones. Right. So this hero with brute strength, Marduk, is most likely Hercules. He is, I know it is now, son of A, who accepted the challenge to confront Tiamat, Hydra, the multi-headed beast, but demanded the supreme authority of all the gods as his reward. Now, where this comes in, anyway, if succeeded, armed with the powerful weapons, accompanied by the 4 winds of heaven, the line of the solstices, which is over, the 4 winds of heaven are here, right? This is the 4 winds of heaven. See that split there?
Yeah.
Right. So you've got Hercules standing here, or Marduk, okay? You've got the Hydra in his arms. You can't really see that. You've got the Draco at his feet. Okay. So he's wrestling the Hydra. In fact, what I should do is show you the Hydra on the heavens. Hey. So much. There he is here. And if we can maybe put it right way around so that he's as if he's in on the top of Scotland. So you have Cephas over in Aberdeenshire, House of Cephas. This is the east coast of Scotland. This is Draco sitting near the centre of heaven in the centre of north of Aberdeen. This is the Absu. And then you have Hercules up here holding multiple serpent heads. Yeah? That's the Hydra. That's Tiamat.
Yeah.
The female. Salt water. So the buildings pull down all these canals, went all over like the serpent heads, and pulled down electricity. All the canals all over Britain, like the serpent waterways, and pulled down salt water, electricity, create hydrogen. But he's standing over the northeast of Scotland, right there, in the constellations, all the stars and all the standing stones are laid out accordingly, perfectly. Even the shape of the land is the shape of his body. The shape of the land is the shape of his leg, and so on. And even his foot's there in 4 rows. It's called Fortrose. It's also called Rose Marquis. Rose Mark, the mark of the beast, Rose Marquis. Has his foot standing on the dragon, Draco, and he's wrestling the Hydra, right? In his arms, squashing the Hydra in the heavens, right? This is Marduk, right? So this hero with brute strength, Marduk, most likely Hercules, son of Enki, Egypt, Cephas, accepted the challenge to confront Tiamat, the Hydra, but demanded the supreme authority of all the gods as his reward if he succeeded. And armed with the powerful weapons and accompanied by the four winds, what are the four winds of heaven? It's the fault line. This here marks the equinoxes, summer, spring, summer. See this line here? It's a fault line. We're waiting for an earthquake to happen, which will destroy the world. That's what we're waiting for, I think. And the earthquake's going to happen here.
Great.
It's a massive flood.
And then it begins again.
Coming. And this is why we have to be up the top here. We have to be up here because this is the only bit that's above sea level. The rest of it's 200-300 feet below sea level. This is 350 feet above sea level. This is the last part in the world, well, not in the world, in Britain to go on the spine. Yeah. It goes. But according to the Bible, there's a massive earthquake and a flood, and the four winds of heaven cause it. And this is it. This is it. And he sits above the fault line. He sits on the fault line, right above it, right there. His foot's on it, in fact. That's the fault line. So there's going to be a massive quake. It says that Edinburgh, the valley, will split in two because of the fault line. And this valley here will split in two because the fault line will rattle down here and it will break all this here and everything will sink in the lower realm or the middle realm. And people will be running for their lives. That's what's going to happen. But it says Jerusalem will be saved. That's what's coming, huh?
Wow.
If the Bible's right, and so far it's people are saying the Bible's not right, but it is. This is what's coming, huh? The heavens are going to be shaken up again, the constellations, because they're still holding on. So the power has to be shaken in order for it to be removed. And this is what we're seeing here. It's repeated, So he shakes the four heavens, the line of the sources, rung along the fault line of Inverness, Loch Ness, Fort William, Oban. And the word Oban is Eden, Oban. It's also the word Odin. Odin. Yeah. All these words mean something, but I'm not going to. Anyway, Kilmartin Glen, the many-headed Hydra, or the Tiamat, is the Hydra, who sits over these geographical areas of Scotland. I'll speak about this later, but it's suffice to say, we're reading the same story about the celestial events recorded for us in the book of Revelation, chapter 13. And the book of Revelation, chapter 13, says this: one of the heads of the beast, Hydra, seemed to have a fatal wound, but that fatal wound had been healed. The whole world was filled with wonder and followed the beast. It's the system, huh? Yeah. People worshipped the beast, the dragon, because he gave power and authority to the beast, Hydra. And you'll see why. The two of them are connected to one another. And that's why you and I, or Hercules, her called out ones, the called out ones, that's who we are. Heracles. We're her, nature, Gaia, not Gaia, Mother, the Earth's called out ones. We are Heracles. We are Heracles, Heraclesia. We are the Heracles, united, one body, coming together, standing over the serpents and the fault line. That's who we are. The uniquely generated Son who's placed in the heavens. Not the Jesus story. It's deeper. It's much deeper.
Yeah.
It's written in the heavens for us to see it and to encourage us. He's jumping on that serpent. He's strangling the fucking other. Oh, sorry, swearing. Sorry, excited. He's strangling the hell out of that Hydra.
Yeah.
And what we're reading here is it was. It had a fatal wound, but the fatal wound had healed. Well, what happens here is the 12 labors of Hercules, which represent the 12 houses, probably the 11 beasts as well, that are created. He goes through the 12 labors, and one of those 12 labors is to cut off the head of Hydra. And he keeps cutting it off, and it grows back and grows back and grows back. And he's like, cutting. And two of them devise this cut it and burn it to stop it from growing back. And that's what the Loch Ness Monster is. The Loch Ness Monster is Hydra. That's why she's Nessie, Nestle, the nest.
Yeah.
The nest of creation, Nessie. It's Tiamat.
Is it real then? If it's kind of as above, so below, and so within, so without, is the Nessie real?
Yes.
Well, you
It's
heard it here first.
a primordial demon. It's a primordial beast. It's a
Wow.
Kelpie. It's what the Scottish people call the Kelpies. If you look up the tradition of Kelpies, the Kelpies was a sea creature, like a horse, or like it's all the beasts in the heaven. Like Cetus is the Kelpie. Cetus, the beast, or the Kraken, is the Kelpie, the Scottish Kelpie. The Drago or Dragon is a Kelpie. So in Celtic mythology, we have these stories where the Kelpie would appear and carry people down into the underworld, which is exactly what they're doing. Or they would carry people up into the upper world, but that was few and far between. The Kelpies, Celtic Kelpie, was this water beast. They're living beasts. That's what they are. They are the living beasts. So that you can actually, this is what's so good about this, is I research it, you can actually physically put this into place in our history, in our practice, in our culture. It's all there in our traditions. You know, the Celtic traditions and our people, or the British people, we have it all in the stories and the fairy tales. And in fact, the fairies are the Furies. They're called the Furies. The Tuath the Nan are the fairies, the Furies, the ones who went down furious. They were furious that they get
furious.
Yeah, and they're the furries.
Yeah.
And they went down and tricked people into worshipping the fairies as gods. The same thing, yeah. Whereas, meantime, in Scotland, we would have had order. Order came about. Marduk created order. Marduk created the kingdom. Marduk brought order. And then later on, his descendants, the Canaanites, began worshipping him like a god. That's the error that we've always made. We worship gods. And so we have Canaanite Baal. And from that Baal system, you've got the Argus Navi system there as well. Baal becomes the master of the Lord of the ship as well. And then we get trapped in their Baal system. But it all comes from there, up there. And man's desire to worship or create the idea of gods, to honour gods. And we put ourselves in that bondage. We're the James 7.
Enslaved by our own free will.
Yeah. So how long have we been on for? So
we've done a fair chunk.
I know. We'll call it. We'll pull it. I'm nearly the end of this. So, so this is the Book of Revelation, chapter 13. That's the beast with its head healed, and so this is the beast of Revelation with a fatal wound. So here's the mystery of Revelation. It's gone. It no longer exists. Who's the beast of Revelation? It's not a mystery anymore, Callie. Is everything okay? You got a phone call or something?
Oh, I've got you. Sorry, I lost you then, Stephen.
Yeah, what I'm trying to get clear across here is here's the mystery of Babylon. Mystery Babylon. Who is Mystery Babylon? Babylon worshipped Tiamat and Apsu, the two primordial beings. From that came the gods and all the pantheons of gods, and from that every god, and even the Bible. This is what I'm trying to show. Our Bible is showing the exact same story. It's showing the exact same story in Genesis 1 of this. This is the same story, yeah. But we need to understand how these primordial entities exist in the upper world and within our bodies, because they do. So Marduk engaged Tiamat in a fierce battle. He ensnared her with his net, which is very important because it's Orion's belt, the net.
Yeah.
Okay. With the winds, and pierced her heart with an arrow, which is Sagittarius, the arrow. And the great dragon is called the Epirus bow in the Greek. There's this magnificent bow that's the only thing that can kill the beast in the Greek. It's called the Epirus bow. And if you find the Epirus bow, there's a battle according to see that film, The Immortals, that I was speaking. In that film, the Epirus bow, the arrow that's here, is the main part of the story. If they can get that bow, they can defeat the evil that's come upon the earth, and they can put the immortals back into Tartarus, into the underworld. Whereas you've got this evil guy who's trying to release the underworld, the immortals. which are the
Yeah.
same as us. It's just that they divided themselves as gods and made us worship them as gods, and then we
Yeah.
the underworld.
God.
So, and the underworld are just the Elohim as well. So from Tiamat's eyes flowed the Tigris and
Carry on. I'm just going to plug in my speaker in.
okay, I could go.
Continue.
Right.
Keep going.
Okay, from Tiamat's eyes flowed the Tigris and the Euphrates River. Now, why this is important, the Tigris and the Euphrates River, if the North Celestial Pole is where it all happened, then the Tigris and Euphrates River is not in Mesopotamia as we understand it today, not in the Far East, not over there. Because the North Celestial Pole is the centre of heaven where all the Tiamat and the Abzu story is. I've already showed it's in Aberdeen, it's in Scotland, it's in this area, right? It's marked by the standing stones. So this is important. From Tiamat's eyes, from her eyes and body, flowed the Tigris River and the Euphrates River, which is the first of fourth, and all the rivers, the big rivers that are in Scotland, they were no, that's the Euphrates River and the Tigris. It's also the Nile Delta because Andromeda is the Nile Delta under there, and Orion's Belt is a Nile Delta. So he took the tablets of stones, or the Stone of Destiny, from King Gu, who was the lover of Tiamat, and cementing his dominion over the cosmos, he established a new world order, proclaiming his sovereignty over all creation. Kingu is then forcefully sacrificed so that his blood can be used to create the first living being. Then the living being is enslaved to the gods so that the gods can be free. The living being is also tasked with feeding these new gods so that the gods can keep order and rule within the cosmos, saving mankind from any furthermore impending disasters, which were seen in the primordial chaos of Genesis 1, the Tahu and Vahu, or Tiamat and Abzu, which we read in Genesis 1. So the gods step in to be the heroes, really. And we begin to worship these heavenly things as the heroes stepping in. It's our problem, it's our fault. It's not all our fault, but it's partly our fault, mostly our fault. Remember, these are the same stories of celestial events considered the formation of our realm, be it Greek, Egyptian, Hebridean, Celtic, Hyperborean, or Nordic, or Far Eastern traditions, or even South American or Mayan or Incan. They all tell the exact same story, their own versions, but the same battle between light and darkness, primordial chaos, the Hebrew Tahu Vahu, and the astonishing. By the way, the word Tahu Vahu is in English would be the closest to it would be astonishing void and darkness. So it's not just a void of chaos and darkness, it's an astonishing. This is how the Kabbalists. Why is it astonishing? Because it's living and active. It's the active force of creation, the spark of creation. But it's darkness and emptiness until the Spirit of God comes and separates it, which is the story of Enki or Marduk separating the waters and creating the. So the verses below are taken from Kabad Lubavitch, or that verse, the astonishing void. So I've got it here, written out exactly what they've. So remember, these are all the same stories. Oh well, the verses below are taken from the Kabad Lubavitch Jewish website. Kabad are descendants of the Eastern European Jews. The term Yid is from the territory of Judah, which is Jerusalem, Edinburgh. Most of them are ancient Celtic and Norse stock. They don't even know it, but I'll leave that for a study for another time. The verses below are a recent modern translation of Genesis 1 by the Kabad, and the use of a number of words that are not normal in the English translations that we have. So I put this in because it's not in the NIV, it's not in the King James. This is their new translation, an esoteric, mystical translation. So within the Kabbalah schools, a primordial world does exist within the text. And so Kabbalah used the word astonishingly void and darkness over the face of the deep, or the abyss, to highlight their belief in a primordial watery world where the divine sparks of creation emerged. Those divine sparks of creation are you and I, the divine Elohim, the image or reflection of the Almighty God in the waters above and the waters below, as you see in the mirror of Cassiopeia. And the word Cassiopeia, an opia is an opium. Opia is utopia, exhilaration and opia. So Cassiopeia is the house, because Spanish is Casi means house. So Cassiopeia means the house of exaltation, the house of excitement, the house of utopia, Cassiopeia. And Ethiopia means the house of E. Again, utopia, the house of utopia. So it's all there and all. The highest part of heaven we can get to without stepping into heaven.
Yeah.
So God's house is the house of Cephas, and the center throne of heaven is the holy place within the house of Cephas. Right there. It's all there. So, but that's the version there in Hebrew. So Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz be'yahaaretz be'yatu tahu vehu. It's there. Tahu vehu, which means astonishingly void. It isn't just darkness was on the face of the deep.
Astonishingly void.
So it's an active force in power, which is what we need to rule over. It's why you see Ophiuchus, the 13th house, holding one of the beasts, another serpent. He's holding it out towards the direction of the sun. As the sun would rise in the east, it would come along the serpents. The serpent caput is called. And it's him controlling the ancient primordial, us, me and you, control these beast energies. The beast lives within us.
Yeah.
The number of the beast is man.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what we're finding out in it.
And they're inside.
I shall torment the beast. The beast shall torment me, and I shall torment the beast.
Yes.
One and the same.
So we call it a rapt, because that's more or less it.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I mean,
because I'll go on the next time here. It says, you'll notice there are three distinct stations or portions of the heavens mentioned in the biblical text. These are the sky, the heavens, the oceans, and the dry land, the earth. We'll wrap it up here, right? This will be it, because I have to say this bit and then finish it. So in this here, we see here, darkness is on the face of the deep. There's a primordial deep. Then God called the sky heaven. So there's heaven, oceans, dry land, earth, E-N-K-A. Earth.
The
dominion of E.
Of course.
So you'll notice there are three distinct stations or portions of creation mentioned in the biblical text. This is the Bible. These are the sky, the Anu, the gods of Anu, the oceans, which is the sea nymphs and the gods of the sea nymphs, and then dry land, the Baal, the masters of the earth. This threefold creation and the three separate dominions are told or spread from the tree worldwide. It all comes from the canopy of the tree, and that's how the legal system works. You can see it. Can you see it? I hope you can see it. So the Greek myths and legends, the Egyptian philosophies, the Canaanite, the Phoenician beliefs, and so on, they show us all these things in the heavens. And I'm not going to go on, but this is part of my book.
Wow. Awesome. Thank you. That's just like it's like what I always do. I'm gonna go and rewatch that and chew over it again as but it all makes sense to me, so hopefully it should make sense to our awesome subscribers, because we're a different breed here at Dark Matters, so well, I like to think so anyway.
You said that. Just as we're talking, this is the throne of heaven, North Celestial. The disaster that happened, this is it here, the sun splitting in two, right?
Yeah.
Now this is Orion, this is Taurus, this is Aquarius.
Yeah.
Here is that's the Cetus, the beast, the Kraken. This is the square of heaven, Masonic square. This is the three pillars of masonry, and these are the symbols of Aries. When did disaster happen? It happened at the very beginning, on the first 3 months of Aries, of the age of Aries. These represent windows in time. So you've got the 3 quarters of the year. And in Aries, this is when the disaster hit. Where did it hit? It came through Ursa Major, because that is Diana, the symbol of the crescent moon. This is what they're not telling you, but this is what we need to know. It hit that creature, the beast in the heaven, the Kraken. It hit Taurus, and it hit Ursa Minor, Ursa Major, and it then landed in the Eridanus, and this is the Eridanus River. And the Eridanus River is Hadrian's Wall. The River Eden, in fact, it's called.
Right. Well.
The Eridanus River is called the River Eden. And it sat immediately under Mount Olympus. So Mount Olympus is here in Scotland, up here, and the Eridanus River goes down through. And it's the same in the heavens.
Yeah.
It is exactly the same in the heavens. So here you have, and this I will finish it, Kelly, now. I will finish, I promise. This here, I have to show this. We're looking at the center of heaven. This is heaven. This is the tree of life. Okay. Oh, no. Wrong one. This is the tree of life. This here is the ecliptic, where the houses pass through this middle part here. So there's your tree of life.
Yeah.
There's moving away from the tree of God's garden. And there is the tree of good and evil down the very bottom. 3 poles, 3 heavens, 3 pillars of masonry. The lower world, materialism, and it goes round and round and round, material world. The Argus Navi ship, if you don't get off the ship, you'll come back down into the underworld. Now, you'll notice that it goes, I'm just going through the hours, you'll notice that the Argus Navi goes in a clockwise direction. You see the Argus Navi, yeah?
Oh,
and
right,
all,
yeah.
See all the 11 beasts that we're talking about fighting? Tiamat created all these beasts, and they're in the underworld. They're all there, yeah. These half creatures, half man, half reptile, half horse, they're all there, including Sirius, including the wolf. But you'll notice that the ship always goes down to Hull and down to Grimsby, and then goes back up again. Down to Hull, down to Grimsby, and back up again. Hull, Grimsby. In fact, it goes Barrow and Furness.
That's a godforsaken place. I went there once. I thought I booked a holiday to Bowness, and I booked Barrow in Furness by accident.
Oh my God! Heaven help you.
We had a good laugh though.
People have asked me to go down there. I've never been, but I don't fancy it. I don't know why. It's
Don't
just
bother.
this here is what I'm talking
Barrow
about.
in Furness watches.
The 3 heavens, and this here is the Enki and Leo, sorry, who built his house in the 3rd heaven. And then the 12 gods, or the 11 and the 12 houses, and then the lower world, which is what we're ruled by. And the whole world needs to stop chasing this material world, because watch this. That's clockwise. You see the other ones?
Yeah.
Anti-clockwise. See this? Anti-clockwise. See this? Anti-clockwise. The houses and where they've got us going the wrong, not only chasing the world of materialism and finance and death. This represents Tartaria, underworld, death, hell, Hades. That's where hell, the material world. And people are living in that material world, jabbed up, boosted. They're never going on that. They're on that ship and they're never getting off.
Wow.
Never.
And you were saying, Stephen, about how the true energy runs anti-clockwise, and obviously, like you say, this hijack, I call it, but it's probably not the right word. They're running that show clockwise, aren't they? So, like you said, they're getting us going. I mean, literally everything in that inversion in it, they're getting us going in the direction. Literally.
That is why I mentioned at the beginning about, like, throughout the world, Hinduism used the swastika. The Germans, Nazis used the swastika. Mayans, Incans. They all use the swastika because it represents the tree of life. And that's why you go anywhere and you see these tree of lives and dragons, because the dragons were cast out of the centre of heaven, Britain, the British Isles. The beasts were all cast out, and they've now come back into the garden. A long time ago, 700 years ago or something, they came back into this garden and took control of it. Rewrote our history. More than that, actually. During the 1100s and whatever, they rewrote all British history and gave us kings. But these are all the reptilian bloods. And through the banking system, which they've established, they married into all their bloods and then hijacked our clans, the real families, the real descendants of the heavens, the gods. Married into them all so that they can get legitimacy. And this is why you'll get stories like, oh, well, they're descended to King David, or Prince Charles is connected or descended from Vlad the Impaler. Yeah, because they're very it's very important that they kept their bloodlines. They've been trying to keep their bloodlines, but they've also been trying to breed into the true clans and tribes in order to take over the estates in the heavens and the estates down here. And this is the war we're at. If they can take over the estates down here, they can control the powers in the heavens.
Wow.
The quicker, the quicker that we come to the knowledge of the heavens and where we fit into the heavens and the gods and all the stories and creation stories and that and how it works. And this tree, the tree is the most important thing is the heaven, the North Celestial Pole is the tree. There's nowhere else. Middle East and all that's just nonsense. Huh? It's
Yeah.
rubbish.
That's
It's
what
all
we're
rubbish.
finding out, isn't it? Wow. Well, if I say wow one more time, they might create like a little nodding Churchill dog of Carly just nodding to wow, 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 wow. I just like wow, though, wow. I
It's,
can't say
it's
anything
not so
else.
like to hear that. It's good.
Wow.
So I get sent to Fergus. Like I don't. I know this is it. This is real. It's absolutely real.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not something of mine. It's something that we all have. It's something that is important to us all because it's there. It's written. Once people are too lazy. This is the problem we were speaking about as well. People are
Yeah.
lazy shit. So the
Well, I know
nation.
this is the I'm thinking like I probably even I might even put this into two parts, Stephen, because people see it if it pops up and it's 3 hours and they'll go, oh, but it's like, you're not gonna learn this, unfortunately, because we've been so heavily programmed, indoctrinated, brainwashed, unless you're gonna really,
Yeah,
put
I
some,
think that's a
do
good
you
idea. Split it if you could, because yeah,
yeah,
part
we'll do it
two.
in two parters. We'll reel them in, tease them in, give them a
I'm tr
teaser.
I'm trying to do recordings and but there is so much as I'm going along and I remember things. There's so much I think, oh, you have to put it in.
Oh no,
I said to everybody, I let it come out. I'm much better. It's like verbal diarrhea. I used
it's
to
brilliant.
not be in control of it, but I'm very much in control of it now.
Well, it's
Yeah,
definitely your destiny. If it's written in the stars, as I have my proper chart done, it's like as is mine. So, it's like it flows out of you because of the passion you have for it. And you've been doing it since, like I say, studying the standing stones themselves. I know it, and just the study that you've just, wow, and if you don't know Stephen's history, like I say, go watch the other video because I did a very long intro where we kind of touched on how
yeah.
Stephen got to this point and talking to us beautiful people but it's just absolutely fascinating. Will you press stop screen share,
Oh,
Stephen, and
yeah,
we'll
yeah,
we'll
yeah.
sign off. And honestly, whenever you're ready, if you want to come back and do some more, the door is absolutely 100% always open. I
Thank
could
you very
listen to
much.
it all day. It's
Yeah.
amazing,
Well,
the work you
I'll
the
keep
book. I can't wait for the book. Wow, it's gonna be amazing.
there's 5 books I'm working on at the moment.
Did I say
So
wow?
you did again then.
To come up with
Um,
a whole new vocab for next time.
so, but I don't know if I did read this. I will read this to you. The titles of the books will
Yeah,
explain it all, right? The titles, and it will be a while. The books themselves, there's 5 of them, and it's going to be it's going to be called, it's going to be a, a pack of 5 books that you buy. I'm not releasing them individually. There'll be five
yeah.
books,
D-
on PDF, so that well, hold on. But the I'm unstable. My connection is saying. Book one is
Yeah,
called A Statement to the Established Mind. Book
yeah,
two is called Rock the Casbah, the Citadel of Adelphi, and that looks at the legal system and star forts and how they control by the stars. Book three is called Orion's Belt, the legal system, the law, lupus, and the state registrar. Book four is Sovereign Being, you now must be born above. So it's putting all the information of the heavens, the estates, and all that together from the previous books into how you become sovereign. And book five is Reaching Your Nirvana, Peter's Pearly Gates and the House of Cephas. And I'm doing another book which is nearly done. This is the 6th book. It's almost done. It's called Spiritual Soup, Recipe for an Infinite Mind. And it's addressing all the false spirituality and where the false spiritual practices actually come from.
I'm
Because I
not
thought
going to
that was
say.
important. As I went on, I realised that more and more people were getting caught up in rubbish when it's all to do with the heavens. If we understand the heavens, we are in there. We're in it. We're
Really?
in
Is that so?
it.
It's like kind of that was a question I was going to ask. So it's kind of that simple. If we understand it and we move toward it, that's that integration of it. That's kind of enough. I'm going to physically move up there. I'm coming.
We all should be up here. We're all cleared away from here. If
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not trying to get people to come here, but really that's what people should be doing. They should be
yeah,
moving nearer to the North Central Pole, anywhere
yeah,
beyond Perth upwards.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
Anywhere. We should be moving away from their system anyway. It will collapse. The more people see the Highland, you guys in England, and I don't mean disrespectfully because this is your history. It's our history, not your history, but it is your history. But the Scottish and the Irish and the Welsh, we were all cleared from our lands for a specific reason. The land and us are connected. And if we're not in the lands where the energies are flowing, we're in the underworld. And they've moved us all to the lower realms. And all the housing estates are all in the waterways. Every house is, every being is lost at sea. Their postcode tells a story. You know, you get the postcode lottery, people win the postcode. It's all written in the stars there. But they're all lost at sea, most people, and we need to move back up into higher ground. And the object of the Highland clearances and all the clearances of the Celtic people was to diminish our power and diminish the power of the Almighty Creator upon the body of man, or the Isle of Man, the island that we live on, and the body that we live in. What the Almighty Creator or Source is trying to do is trying to unite the fallen, corrupted vessel that was created by the Elohim, by us. And He's trying to unite us back to the divine image where we will receive a divine body, which is exactly what the New Testament talks about. We are going to receive a divine body, and all that, because of religion, it's quite hard to talk about that with a lot of people, but it's very true. We are divine, but we're not in our divine shell. We're on a ship, the Argos. This is the Argos Navi, the body. It really is, and we have to know when to get off the ship and claim our sovereignty. So
well, and on that note, that's
that's it.
that's just a brilliant note to finish on, isn't it? Because it just ties everything in. So if you've enjoyed this as much as I have, stay tuned.
Yeah,
And like you say, Stephen, you're welcome back anytime. And the books, I can't wait, honestly. It's for me,
yeah.
like I say personally, and I shouldn't say personally, as a living woman, seeking that kind of true sovereignty, I've not found anything better. And I am always enjoying the journey. It's and like I say, ever humble to it. So thank you so, so much. That's
No
just
worries.
been,
Thank you very much for allowing me. The next time we'll look at the Tuath Nan, where the gods went down to,
oh my gosh. I
and
love it. Can't wait. And yeah, thanks, Stephen. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll definitely catch you next time.
stay blessed, keep shining. Don't forget to look up stuff.
Look up.
Look up.
Look up.